So we have a little bit of collection of news for you this week. It's going around. We've got Shuhei Yoshida, but we've also got some great news with updates to fixes, to patches, and one of them being Indiana Jones. So I'm just going to be quiet, do the drop, and get started. So the first one is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a game that I gave 9.7, I believe, out of 10. This game is phenomenal, and one of the reasons why I didn't give it a straight 10 was because of some bugs that were in the game. But apparently they've fixed them, and they've added more features to it. So the DLSS4 multi-frame generation has now been added. Notice the omission of NVIDIA's 4090 graphics card, so that pretty much raises some flags as to these bars and how they're doctored. But it is still great to see, running at 4K. Awesome stuff. You've got DLSS reconstruction. You can see the reconstruction is actually looking better. The lighting is looking better. So overall you get a better picture, but it's not like over the top. You've got improvements to other graphics cards that are using FSR, Intel XCSS, and so forth. So great stuff there. The most important thing here, of course, is the patch, the fixes and the quality of life updates, and they do have this in much bigger form. They've got general fixes. This is the one that a lot of people actually had a problem with in Giza with the Ostrasan shard. It wasn't giving it to you after restarting checkpoints. So this now is basically giving you the option to go and collect it, or maybe it's just going to auto be in your collection. I haven't tested it yet, so I'm going to test it myself after this video, in fact. Rogue Trader Warhammer is available right now on Game Pass for Xbox Series X and S. Now, this looks like an XCOM style game, so if that's your thing, it is in the Warhammer universe. Definitely check it out. Now, this was available on PC a year ago, but now it's available on consoles and it's on Game Pass, and there is synergy with game sharing between PC and consoles. It doesn't look like it has to be just between PC Game Pass and console. It looks like Steam will be supported by this as well. So cool stuff. If you like this sort of game, the Warhammer XCOM style of games, you'll be right at home. So this is a Call of Duty pack that's gonna set you back $90. The title is a little more misleading than it actually says. Now they're assuming that each of these skins are gonna cost $20 each. There's actually no pricing available for this. I've seen a lot of people kind of flipping out. Now, basically the $90 comes from the fact that you can't actually buy these characters for real money. You have to buy points, and the points that are required to buy them come to something like $87, or I think it's like $86, something like that. So you're rounding it up essentially to $90. Each character, they say, is estimated at $20. It could be less, really. It could be $9.99 or $14.99, $17.99. We just don't know. So they're making that assumption. Apparently there's a Splinter skin as well for this, so that's kind of cool. But for those of you that are looking forward to some crossover skin action with Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the Turtles are about to invade, but it will cost you a bit of money. These aren't earnable in game, so good luck, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. So, finally, the age-old myth where I said I was wrong with Shuhei Yoshida, well, not with Shuhei Yoshida, with Bungie basically getting factions cancelled, is now confirmed real. And though people are basically saying that Bungie had no hand in this, they couldn't do anything, the reality is, as Shuhei Yoshida says, Bungie came in and said, nope, not good enough, this ain't right, it's not going to work. Then they followed that up by saying, this is what's required for a live service game, and at that point, Naughty Dog said, hold on a minute, maybe this isn't right. So Bungie came in, totally told them what they wanted or didn't want to hear, convinced them that this wasn't the right path for them, and the game got cancelled. Anyone that says that isn't a direct influence or, interaction from Bungie making that happen is delusional. Right? Bungie are the reason this game doesn't exist. Why am I upset about this? Because I like The Last of Us. Regardless of how people may feel about that, I actually enjoyed the games, and I enjoyed Factions when it was on the PS4. So I really was looking forward to this live service game. So I was upset when it got cancelled. But notice how Bungie then went over to Concord and said, yeah, this game is going to be really successful. So when I turn around and say Bungie went over there, saw how good Factions looked, which, let's face it, Neil Druckmann said it was the best TLU he's worked on. Shuhei Yoshida says it was great. Bungie move in and say it's not good enough, and basically do everything in their power to get it cancelled, and they do. And then they look at Concord and say, right, there is no way that this game is going to make us look any worse. In fact, this game is so bad, it's going to make us look great. And they allow that. Even though there is some kind of joke in there, the point being made here is that the wrong game was cancelled. And it's good to see that Shuhei Yoshida can finally put that claim and that information to rest. I did find it interesting that now they're changing the narrative by Bungie saved Naughty Dog, worth every penny of those 4 billion. And of course, then you've got Nibs down here actually glorifying layoffs that people got just so Sony could save some money. That's a new low, bud. That's basically what you're doing here. You're glorifying the layoffs. That's not cool. Finally, we come to this remake. I think this is the last one for this video. I mean, this remake for the Days Gone is by far the worst. And people are now coming out saying, oh, but this was in development last year and all this. Mate, there was rumors. This feels like the biggest cash grab ever. Right? I believe that those game modes that were being done was probably going to be sold as DLC. But instead, what they've done is they've repackaged it as a remaster to try and shift this because, as you know, Ben Studios was working on that live service game for God of War, and then that left a big black hole in their bank balance, on their balancing sheets. So now they need something quick and dirty to actually get it out there. So instead of you paying, $10-15 for a DLC that would have all of those game modes in there and whatnot that they were going to do, they've decided to repackage this as a $70 game. Or is it $60? Now, I do know that if you've got the original PS4 version, there is a version, there is an upgrade pass for you to get it for $10. But it is still being sold for full price as well. And the reason it's being sold for full price is because they're trying to get suckers out there to go and buy it. And when you're looking at the difference between these remasters and the original, I think someone put it very, very acutely, outside of the blood being missing entirely off his top, which makes the remaster even less worthwhile. The real difference, people are saying that they can see the difference, and I agree with them. There is a clear difference here. If you look on the left side, like someone told me in my chat today, and I didn't see this originally, they're the ones that pointed this out to me, because if you look at it, there's not much in difference really. It's almost identical, but there is a difference. See, the one on the left has the word original. The one on the right has the word remaster. And that there is the main difference between the two. And again, you're looking here, virtually no difference between the two. It's the most pathetic remaster you can get. I'm seeing people going out and actually buying it and saying, I'm never going to play the game, but I just want to support it. That just sounds crazy to me. I mean, if that's how you feel, if you're watching this video and you like burning money, well, become a member of my channel. It's going to cost you half the price that you paid for that, or even less if you go for the bottom tier. But hey, at least you're supporting me since you are watching me. I'm just saying, if you're throwing money away, at least put it to a good cause. It's just bad. In my opinion, this is just rough. They applied a little different color palette to his hat and calling it a remaster. This is like a really, really cheap and dirty remaster, and charging full price for this, that's just not good. So that's it. That's the news. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And what do you think about the Days Gone Remaster? Do you think it's actually worth the money? Do you think it's worth the investment of a full price game? I mean, at the end of the day, there are a few little bits, but I just do not understand how people are actually defending this. This shouldn't be defended, but we already know that more of this stuff is coming because Shuhei Yoshida said games are costing a lot of money to develop and they need additional revenue to cover those. Remakes and remasters are super cheap to build and have a high profit margin. So if they, if a full release costs, say, $500 to make, this costs $10 to make. It's that cheap in equivalence. And so the actual return that you're getting from a $70 game is really high as opposed to everything else. And I just feel like that's... And so they're using these to actually make more money, which is, I guess, fine. It is business, especially after live service failed. And, live service was there for a reason, in my opinion, to alleviate these remasters because they're not needed. But now I reckon you're going to see a lot more pointless remasters like this one coming out, which doesn't need a remaster, by the way, and try to milk the community. And while you've got people out there turning around and saying, I'm never going to play this, but I'm going to give them my $10 anyway, you're enabling this action, and you shouldn't be doing that. It's just wrong. At least in my eyes. But hey, if you'd like to support a lot of people, what you should be doing is consider supporting me by hitting that like button, subscribe, hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. That is a free way of supporting me. If you want to support me further and enjoy the content I make, enjoy the streams I do, be it the podcast or the gaming streams over at Twitch, feel free to become a YouTube member. It all helps in keeping the channel going and me making these awesome contents for you. At the end of the day, you're here watching them, so clearly you are enjoying it. Anyway, that's the video. See you next time. Remain legend.